Welcome back. This morning we continue our coverage of fertility. As more women of color turn to sperm banks in the wake of this pandemic, they face a nationwide shortage of donors who may share their background. CBS News analyzed the numbers at 4 major U.S. cryobanks where the sperm is donated. We found that 53% of available sperm is from white donors, while listen to this number, less than 4% is from black donors. Our new CBS News correspondent, that's Chanel Call, is here with more. Chanel, good morning to you and welcome. Welcome to the table.
Thanks for the warm welcome. This is a really important story.
Yes.
And unfortunately, it's a heartbreaking reality for so many women across the country who just want to have a child that reflects their own race and culture. The lack of options forces many of them to choose between having a child that doesn't look like them or not having a baby at all. Jamila Galloway grew up in a family that celebrated being black.
Enjoying soul food and having our slang and having our words that we, say that's like just very, very black.
When you started this whole process, what did you imagine your child would look like?
Me. Like exactly like me. I already thought they were gonna just be the mirror image of a young Jamila. And that included being 100% black.
Now, at 40 and single, Galloway is using a sperm donor to get pregnant. But when she filtered the search for donors of her own race, the number of options went from hundreds to a handful.
It literally felt like you were on a hunt. It almost felt like I was having a bit of my decision taken away from me.
Dr. Tia Jackson Bay, a New York City fertility doctor, says every patient of color at her practice has shared that struggle.
I thought people were exaggerating, and it turned out that that's just not true. When you filter by things like race or geographic location or language, country of origin, the numbers go from thousands down to less than 100.
According to our analysis of the country's 4 largest cryobanks, less than 4% of available sperm is black. Why are we seeing such low numbers when it comes to racial donors?
Historically, donors have been recruited from places where maybe black men are not present. Institutions of higher learning, certain areas, geographic areas in the country.
Listen to this. It's also about requirements. Most cryobanks need 3 generations of medical family history, something not all black Americans have access to. The result? Many black women across the country, like Angela Stepancic, eventually give up on finding black donors altogether.
It was overwhelming. The drought was overwhelming.
Stepancic, who describes herself as half black and half Croatian, welcomed a multiracial baby girl last year with her wife.
I'm used to creating relationships and ensuring that relationships are stable despite what difference may be. And so I have no concern about raising my daughter as a beautiful black woman in America.
I wonder if there were non-negotiables, if being black was a non-negotiable when you started the process, and at some point you realized it is a concession you must make in order to have a baby.
Yes. Yeah, it absolutely was. At the start, you imagine you always want your child to look just like you, right? To be like you or browner, right, for us. And so it was a little bit difficult.
But frustration ultimately turned to inspiration for Stepancic. This year, she plans to open the first black-owned cryobank in the country. What do you want to give women and couples who are looking for this?
Warmth, safety, options, right? I want to give them access to the same amount of options that every other couple has going through this process.
Reproductive Village, which will focus on recruiting black donors, is set to open in D.C. this fall. It will also have drop-off locations in Houston and Atlanta. As for the big 4 cryobanks, they say that they're aware of this problem, and right now they're working to recruit more diverse donors.
Boy, this never occurred to me that getting black sperm in particular would be a problem. I love Jamila, I think her name was, who said, I wanted a baby that looked like me. And you said, what were your expectations? Do you have any statistics on how this affects other races? Is it a problem for other races as well?
Well, according to our analysis, the biggest shortage, as we discussed in our piece, is really black donors. But this is not just an issue for black Americans. The numbers of Hispanic and Asian donors, those are also very low. But I do want to point out in those categories, they encompass a really wide range of different ethnicities. So, for instance, Asian includes both East Asian and South Asian donors. So if you're a recipient in that situation, that's not all going to mean the same thing.
When you do this, it looked like we were blurring out faces. Like when women are looking for their donor, they're seeing pictures, so they're getting some information like you just gave us, but then also headshots?
They're seeing pictures, and the more important piece of that is the color of skin that that person is. So they're finding all of that out. But the problem is, as you mentioned, Gayle, a lot of these women don't know this is an issue until they start searching.
Yeah, I'm sure these big four are hearing this and saying, wow, we're not serving these customers. Now we've got competition opening up in D.C. We're going to get on it.
Well, it's a great business plan, and I did reach out to, the big four cryobanks. A lot of them are saying they've known this is an issue for a long time now. The problem is when these places opened years and years ago, the phenotype that many women were looking for at the time was white, tall, blonde, blue eyes, educated, and the people who are now looking for sperm is changing and becoming more diverse. What we need now to see is diversity in donors.
Yeah, last time I checked, tall, dark, and handsome is still a good thing.
No complaints with that.
No complaints.
And Angela opening up the first Black-owned cryobank, I think.
That's great.
It's a big deal, yeah.
Chanel Call, thank you for being here
Thank
for the very
you.
first
Bravo,
time.
good job.
Bravo.
Nice to have you.
Welcome.